Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Movies TV Mad and the Movies TV Mad Daily Live. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and you can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Movies TV Mad 555. A very good morning to you on this beautiful Cypriot morning. It's bank holiday here. I'm having roast chicken later. Very excited to be boiling that bird. I am very sorry to the life form that was the chicken that you were killed for my dinner. I do feel bad. I was brought up on meat. I'm not proud of it, and I'm sorry. But anyway, welcome to the Movies TV Mad Daily Live here exclusively here to Movies TV Mad. A very good morning to you. Put on your kettle. Have your morning cuppa with me. Eat your cereal while watching me. This channel is nearly 3 years old. This July, I will be 3 years old. Well, I probably act like a 3-year-old most of the time, but this channel will be 3 years old, I think around July the 1st or something like that. I used to be called Big Mouth, now I'm Movies TV Mad, so everyone can know what we talk about on here. Entertainment. So, when I first started this channel, I had very pure motivations. I remember Julie, my friend, and she said, you know, you talk a lot. Why don't you start your own YouTube channel? And she goes, but don't publish it, don't promote it, don't market it, share the videos once a day, and that's it. And see, naturally, if this channel can be successful. Now, I haven't been successful, but what I have done is, I have, I think, built a platform of a few people, not many, but a few people that appreciate me, appreciate my point of view, and appreciate the fact that they can come in and talk about their own opinions without being shot down. Now, sometimes I can be very passionate, and sometimes I'm not perfect, but you can tell I'm like you. I'm a fan. Emmanuel Cruz, hello. So 3 years ago, when I started this channel, we were building up to Aquaman. I had the privilege of seeing it before other people, and I spoke about it. It gained me followers, subscribers, and it was a great time. And it built me up to over 800 subscribers. So I remember the day after the video when people kept on subscribing. I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, have I made it already? It turns out I didn't make it because I halted very, very quickly. But we were also fighting for the Snyder Cut. It was an interesting time. I was more anti-Warner Brothers than I am now, but not totally, because I've always had this pre-deficit gear of defending Warner Brothers, no matter what they do. I've got this loyalty like I have to my club, Manchester United, that I will defend them, even when they do wrong, and try and stick with them. Now, when we were fighting for the Snyder Cut, I felt, how can anyone do this to this poor man, Zack Snyder? Why would you do this? Let him release his movie. Let's release the Snyder Cut. We were fighting. It was a glorious fan base, by the way. I was interacting with and doing videos for, and it was great. There was this feeling of rebellion, and it was beautiful. And I felt like I was part of a family. When the Snyder Cut was greenlit, I was very kind of naive. I did have the feeling with that day when Zack did the Man of Steel watch party, and Henry was there, and they greenlit it. It was exciting, and the poster was up, and I'm thinking, we're going to get it all. We're going to restore the Snyderverse. This is it, foregone conclusion. They wouldn't just greenlight this. They're going to do it all. And that's how I felt. But slowly but surely, as the build-up went on, and as the movie was released, something changed within this fandom, our fandom. The Restore the Snyderverse community, the Release the Snyder Cut community, something changed. They weren't the pure fans anymore. There was a lot of members of it that became very negative, very toxic, pushing false agendas. And I started to become very upset because the Snyderverse fandom wasn't the pure fandom it used to be. Many of the members of this fandom became very famous through YouTube channels, and their agenda became very, very different. It was about clicks and likes. So how they were pure, innocent, everyday working class people fighting for something, fighting for a director, All of us standing together, putting banners out. It was amazing. There weren't false propagandas. I think something changed when Ray Fisher started to speak out, and it changed things. I saw a hashtag yesterday, rehire Ray Fisher. How can you rehire someone who was never fired, who pretty much quit and still wants an apology before he'll come back and do anything? Never going to happen, right? So I've noticed a change of the guard, a change of mentality. And what's happened is now I've been put off by the movement, even by the director in a way. I will always like his 3 DCEU movies. I think they're great. They're some of the best CBM movies ever made. I genuinely believe that. So his quality in terms of making DC content stands tall as far as I'm concerned. I just don't feel I want to be part of a fandom that spreads false propaganda and tears down stuff that other people like. I saw someone talking about being tactical and doing this very thing. It's not going to work, by the way. So this is why I started the channel. But even then, I was a DC purist. I mean, as a 10-year-old boy, the first film I ever saw was Superman the movie. When you start tearing down that movie and the actor who played that Superman, probably the best version of Superman, right? You upset me. You trigger me. And I don't want you on my timeline anymore. I don't want to see your false propaganda anymore. So I mute you, I block you, I unfollow you. And that's a shame, because maybe we were friends before. And that's very sad. And so I'm wondering today, as we move toward closer and closer the new era of the DCEU, the multiverse strategy, how many films will it take for people to move on from Snyder and his franchise, move on from Restore the Snyderverse? How many successful blockbuster DC movies would it take? I think it could take 3 or 4, quite a few. But as people see these movies, and as the broader audience is serviced a lot more, and diehard DC fans are serviced a lot more, I believe people will move on. Now, some of you watching me today, still supporting me today, may not like what I'm saying. And I apologize. I thank the people who don't like what I'm saying, but still choose to support me. I thank you a great deal. So I will always love Snyder's 3 movies. But I just think the conversation and the narrative has become so bitter and so toxic that I can't stand to see it. Because I'm a DC fan. That's who I am. I love Snyder's films. I'll repeat that again for the pie eaters in the background. Hello there. Hope you're enjoying your pie this morning. I prefer toast in the morning, not pie. And so I have to be true to myself, and my channel has to be true to me and the people that follow me. And I have to be honest with you. I like Snyder's DC movies, but I'm not going to be stuck in the past, and I'm not going to boycott anything. I would never, ever boycott a Flash movie with so many DC characters. A Flash movie. We've never had a Flash movie. So promising. A Suicide Squad movie written and directed by one of the most talented creatives in the business right now. A Batman movie made by a real auteur. Matt Reeves is going to give us a sensational Batman movie. And so we are heading potentially towards a very exciting direction. But it can only work if the films are executed properly and the creatives in the studio have a healthy relationship. The relationship between the studio and Snyder was never healthy because he was forced upon them from the very beginning. And all they've been trying to do since BVS is get away from under his shadow, and it's been difficult because Snyder's got his boot on their throats constantly. And he's fighting to get the keys to the kingdom. He's fighting to do what he wants to do. I always believed that they wanted to restore the Snyderverse when they released the Snyder Cut. I believe that. But I believe their relationship is so irreversibly damaged, it will be difficult. Now, we know David Zaslav's coming in, but David Zaslav's not an idiot. He can see this multiverse strategy is the right way to go. To appeal to a broader audience is only good business. That doesn't mean you can't restore the Snyderverse, by the way. It can have a nice little place in an Elseworld corner on HBO Max, and it will bring people to the platform. And I'm in support of that. What I'm not in support of is this toxicity, this tearing down what people love, tearing down a young woman like Sasha Calle, whose dreams are coming true, where she's been hoisted in the air and she's smiling. We saw her reaction to that live audition video that Andy Muschietti did to announce her as Supergirl. Things like that we've never seen before within the DCEU, not even over on the MCU. This is a new normal. We're heading to something exciting. And I want to get on the exciting train. I don't want to get on the train to nowhere. I don't want to get on the train back to the past. I hope one day the Snyderverse can be restored. I will always love his movies. But if you're someone who's going to poison my timelines with hate for Superman the movie, Christopher Reeve, Tyler Hoechlin, Sasha Calle, these new movies coming out, constantly boring on, calling James Gunn's The Suicide Squad the Joke Squad, I am not interested in you. I don't need your company. Now, if you want to come on my channel and debate these issues, you can subscribe, you can talk to me, you don't even have to subscribe, you can just come and talk to me, and we can debate it properly. You will find out that I admire Zack Snyder as a director and as a creative. I love his 3 DC movies, but I want both. I want the Snyderverse restored, and I want to embrace this multiverse strategy because I think it's right that DC is for everyone and not one set of fan base. Now, there are members of the Snyderverse fan base. Gabriel's in on us. Hi, good morning, Gabriel, my nephew Gabriel. You're up very early this morning. So I want it all. I want the multiverse strategy. Oh, Gabriel's in on us. Bye. Okay, bye. That was quick. Like something, girls just like some of your boyfriends, just really quick. A hi and a bye. Bye, Gabriel. Nice to hear from you. Anyway, so where was I? Anyway. My nephews and nieces love coming in and saying hi, and it's absolutely awesome that they do. Anyway, so love my nephews and nieces, by the way. Basically, they're the only people I like in the world. I don't really like people in general. I'm not saying I don't like you who are watching the video, but really, the only people I really love and admire are my nephews and nieces. And yeah, they have my heart. Anyway, let's get back to the geek and the nerd. And so, I want it all, but I've been told by some of these people, these acolytes, the bad part of this fandom, that I can't support the multiverse strategy, the Hamadaverse, and support Restore the Snyderverse. But who are you to tell me what I can and can't do? I'm a human being. I'm an entity with an open mind, a free mind. I want both. And maybe one day we'll have both. Maybe that can happen. I think it's a possibility. Who knows? So that's where we are. So now we're getting all these on-set pictures of the Flash movie. It's very exciting. Abraham Herrera, Mick, it's almost 1 a.m. here. Snyder will always have a special place. Toxicity is to be ignored. Absolutely. But unfortunately, Abraham, if you go through your timeline and it's constant false narratives and lies and rehire Ray Fisher, a man who wasn't even fired, it's very, very difficult. It won't be long till I unfollow Ray Fisher as well. I've unfollowed him, followed him before because I don't think his heart's with DC or Cyborg. I think he has a political agenda, and I think he's using people who support him, and that's my opinion. I'd be very happy to see his Cyborg on the Flash movie and in the further DCEU, by the way. I can separate entertainment from what people do on Twitter. Someone asked the question, if someone has an opinion, a famous person, a creative, a director, an actor, has a different opinion to yours, and they're on Twitter talking about it, would that spoil your enjoyment of their movies? Never. I'm an adult. I'm mature enough to segregate that. Even people who block me, creators who block me, I'll still watch their shit, right? But anyway, so as we move forward and as we see all these wonderful, exciting on-set pictures, the fans are being hyped up beyond everything. It's a kind of a dangerous situation as well as an exciting situation because I remember the hype, behind Tim Burton's The Batman movie, Batman '89. And it was hyped up so much that when I watched it, I was slightly underwhelmed because they hyped it up so much. It wasn't what was in my imagination. That's not Tim Burton's fault. That's the way the marketing went. It's like BVS. I think some people were disappointed with BVS because it was hyped as such a Batman, Superman fight fest. And then they only got 9 minutes of a fight fest. And they thought, well, that's not what we were sold. So that's where the disappointment comes from, the marketing sometimes. And people, that things that go on in people's own minds, and creatives can't do nothing about that. The Last Jedi scenario in the end of the day. But, so this movie is really being built up by the fans. They're purposely gone outside in London, shooting stuff that we can see in a place that's very visual. Don't believe anything that Barbara Machete is saying about please don't share stuff. She's playing you. She wants you to share stuff. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All this have respect for the Machetes. They want you to share all that stuff. Why do you think it's so visible? And nothing else they have done is visible at all, apart from Keaton's Castle, right? Have a think about it. These are very, very smart people. So this multiverse strategy can go one way or the other. It's not a foregone conclusion it's going to be well executed, it's going to be good. But this is a strategy that has to work. I've said it many, many times. And if it doesn't work, they are done. They are done. They'd actually have to sack everyone, start again, or do something they really don't want to do, give Snyder the keys to the whole kingdom, which probably will be a disaster anyway. So this thing has to work. It's so important. So let's go to our entertainment update and our headlines, and let's read some articles. This is Movies TV Mad. This is the Movies TV Mad Daily Live, where we update you with entertainment. Most of the time I'll read articles unless I'm bored with the articles and I don't want to read them. And this is what this morning show is all about. Abraham Herrera, there was some controversy when Burton's Batman came out. That's why they replaced him. But now his movies are the better ones. Notice the parallels. Yes, it's very, very similar with Snyder. But Tim Burton is a very different character to Zack Snyder. Tim Burton isn't a controversial figure, not really. He doesn't enjoy the controversy. The way Burton makes his movies, the way he does, is not to be controversial, not to upset you. Now, Snyder enjoys that. Snyder wants to be controversial. He wants as many people to be hateful about his movies as loving. That's what he gets off on. His point about Aquaman not being talked about is a great point in turn. I think that was very disrespectful, by the way, because everyone talks about Aquaman, but in a positive way, Zach. You may not know what it's like to get, 100% positivity about your movie. But anyway, so Tim Burton isn't Zack Snyder, but the parallels are there. Just like Zack, he was stopped in his tracks. He did two movies, Batman 89 and Batman Returns. Batman Returns is probably one of the best Batman comic book movie ever made. People called it overstuffed and too dark. It was fantastic. But Tim Burton isn't like Zack Snyder. So he took his medicine and he said to them, look, I don't think you want to make this movie. Stop making excuses. And they went their own separate ways. Even today, he has a great relationship with Warner Brothers. Not a great one, because let's not forget, they stopped him because after Batman Returns, he was going to do the Superman movie. And they stopped him in his tracks. And he wasn't happy with them. There's no question about that. I think today there's a better relationship there. But that Superman movie was going to be awesome. Forget the YouTube videos of Cage looking a little bit awful in that costume. They were going to sort that out. Even Tim said that. And there's a great documentary out there by, is it Shep? I forgot his name. He tragically died. He was from Collider. You should check that out. So there are parallels there. But the difference is that Burton doesn't do things to be controversial. And I believe that Snyder gets off on it. But what the style of Burton's films are the style. And they're pretty much all similar. Look at Edward Scissorhands. He loves that haunting, grungy kind of feel. You look at Burton, he looks like he's just come out of 1980s universities, where they all had long hair and they're all, hi, all right there. That's kind of who Tim Burton is. So he's a bit of a peaceful soul, a quiet soul, but I love his movies. He is one of the greatest filmmakers. And I like his fandom as well, because they're not passive aggressive. They're not constantly putting out false narratives and false agendas. So I would love Tim Burton to be able to do something with Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton's 70 now, but, we've seen him. He can do it. He can do it. And it will be awesome to do kind of a Batman Beyond, but with Batgirl instead of, is it Roy or whatever it is, yeah? So I would enjoy to see that. I've got a lot of time for Tim Burton and his two Batman films. I was watching Batman 89 last night, and it's fantastic. It really is. But Batman Returns, for me, is his better movie, for sure. DCEU Supergirl suit revealed in full by Flash movie set photos. Sasha Calle's full Supergirl costume is on full display in new The Flash set photos at the actress as the actress films a scene for the eagerly anticipated DC film by Rachel Abernathy of Screen Rant. Fans get their first best look yet at Sasha Calle's full Supergirl suit in new set images for The Flash. Ezra Miller first made his DCEU debut as Barry Allen in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, making a quick cameo with an eye on expanding his role later. The plan was always to give him a standalone movie, but The Flash has suffered more than a few setbacks over the years, with the film currently slated to premiere in November 2022. Production has finally kicked off. Andy Muschietti is directing The Flash, which is shaping up to be the biggest DCEU film in years. It's probably going to be the biggest one of all time in terms of production and budget. Miller will take center stage in The Flash, but the inclusion of several big-name DC heroes has inspired a great deal of excitement among fans. For one thing, the project will include two Batmans, Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton's. The Flash will also serve as the introduction for the DCEU Supergirl. Newcomer Sasha Calle will take to the skies for this film, and her costume has been revealed through various official teasers and set videos. Now, the best look yet at Calle's Supergirl costume has been revealed, first revealed online by the Girl Son via Jedi Nova big screen leaks. Calle was spotted on the set of The Flash wearing her supersuit as she flies on a rig above the ground. Additionally, a picture shared by Nick Nocera revealed the suit with a cape, something that wasn't included when Calle was on the rig. Check out the various shots down below. Yeah, you can't have a cape on the rig. I've been on these sets when they're doing this kind of thing. What they'll do is they'll add the cape in VFX post-production. So that's exciting. So I can see the picture again. I'm not going to show it to you. I don't want to spread it around because I don't know if we're allowed. But she looks awesome. Now, Grace Randolph has had something to say, as she does. First look, Michael Keaton on The Flash. This is his car, not Affleck's. Interesting. And I hear this is from the end of the movie and he's now permanently in the DCEU. That is correct, Grace. He is. Video tomorrow with full breakdowns of these set pics. But if she hasn't blocked me from watching those videos, I should check it out and reiterate what she's had to say on this channel. The Flash's Supergirl suit already featured a noted departure from the comics by not including the hero's usual skirt. Though that means the DCEU film, hang on. The comics have both displayed her in the skirt and in the leggings. So shut it. The DCEU film is following along with the Arrowverse's lead of giving Supergirl pants, though it wasn't seen immediately. The last photo above does confirm that Supergirl will have her cape in The Flash. It will likely be added via CGI for when she's flying above the crowd. The full suit looks like a nice mix of comic book style and realistic flair, and it will be exciting to see Calle in action in it when The Flash arrives next year. It remains to be seen what kind of role Supergirl will play in The Flash, or if she'll make any mention of her cousin Kal-El Henry Cavill in the DCEU. See, these journalists are not even thinking outside the box. She might not even be his cousin. She'll make any mention of her cousin Kal-El Henry Cavill in the DCEU. The movie is expected to be a loose adaptation of the Flashpoint storyline from the comics, so Supergirl can perhaps arrive by the way of the multiverse. I don't think so. She might not even have ties to Cavill's Superman. I think she does at all. The Flash is an interesting place to introduce Supergirl, but the early looks at her so far bode well for the final product. I agree, Rachel Abernathy. Scott Edwards, good morning. What's up? What's up, Doc? So we go on to our next article now. They're talking about Michael Keaton. First look at Michael Keaton's Bruce Wayne returning Flash movie set photos. With production underway on DC's The Flash movie, Michael Keaton has been spotted on set filming his eagerly anticipated return as Bruce Wayne, again by Rachel Abernathy of Screen Rant. New set photos from DC's The Flash reveal the first look at Michael Keaton's return as Bruce Wayne. Ezra Miller's Barry Allen has been slated to receive his own solo movie for years now, but The Flash has seen its fair share of difficulties on the road to the big screen. After several production start delays and swapping of the directors, the DCEU film has finally kicked off filming, with its Andy Muschietti behind the camera. Miller will be back as Barry in his fourth DCEU outing, which is set to adapt the popular Flashpoint comic storyline. Scott Edwards, so you don't think this version of Supergirl is Kara? I don't, Scott. I absolutely don't. I think this is Superman's, aka Henry Cavill's, and Amy Adams' Lois Lane's daughter. And I think Barry finds her in the future where her parents are now dead. She goes back with Barry to his present to pre-warn her parents so they don't die. That's my theory, young Scott Edwards. Because of Flashpoint, The Flash is expected to include several major DC heroes, including Keaton's Batman. For years, Keaton's portrayal of the Caped Crusader has stood among the very best, and fans were stunned to hear that he would be back for The Flash. As production has kicked off, set photos have confirmed the film will return to Wayne Manor, and Machete has teased back Keaton's Batman suit with a bloody image. Now, though, fans have their first glimpse of Keaton on set. Shared online by New West Boy from the Girl Sun, unofficial set photos have revealed Keaton on the set of The Flash, but for this scene, Keaton is dressed as Bruce rather than Batman, wearing a distinguished suit. By the way, he was dressed as Batman. You would even have a glimpse at him on the set of The Flash for this scene. Keaton is dressed as Bruce rather than Batman, wearing a distinguished suit. Exactly what he's doing isn't quite clear. I think they've just come out of a courthouse. I think all these sequences we've seen filmed are at the same place. And I think Supergirl kind of reveals herself to the world after this kind of trial of freeing Henry Allen. I think it's a celebratory moment, like the medal giving at the end of Star Wars: A New Hope. So I kind of like that. But just seeing him there as Bruce is an exciting thing. The set pictures also reveal Miller and Sasha Calle as Supergirl. Check them out below. And she forgot to mention that Iris is there. Iris West as well is there. Kiersey Clemens. Keaton is expected to suit back up as Batman in The Flash, but one almost hopes that that reveal gets saved to the movie itself. So do I. When The Flash picks up with Bruce, it will have been several years since he was last seen on screen in Batman Returns. A lot will have changed with him, and hopefully The Flash will pull back the curtain on what's happened since that 1992 movie. Though the above picture only shows a snippet of Keaton's appearance, he still feels perfectly suited to the role of Bruce Wayne. He absolutely does. How Keaton's Bruce and Miller's Barry will cross paths in The Flash remains to be seen. I think it's pretty obvious. But with Flashpoint serving as the film's inspiration, it seems likely that Barry's speedster ways will break open the multiverse, similar to Ben Affleck's Bruce, who will also appear in The Flash. In Zack Snyder's Justice League, Keaton's version of the character can act as a mentor for Barry. Let me say that again. Affleck's Bruce, who will also be in The Flash in Zack Snyder's Justice. That doesn't even make any fucking sense. Keaton's version of the character can act as a mentor for Barry. After faithfully serving Gotham for years, Bruce probably has a thing or two to share about the superhero life. All will be revealed next year. Hopefully, as the filming continues on The Flash, fans will see a few more glimpses of Keaton on set to tide them over. Yeah, everything we're seeing here is all connected. This scene outside the courthouse is all connected. It looks like, as Grace says, it's the climax of the movie or near the climax of the movie. And this is a celebratory moment. You know, Henry Allen's been released. Supergirl's revealed herself to Earth 1, present day. So it's a great moment. And maybe that's how the film ends. We will have to wait and see. So is anyone going to go and watch Luca? So every Pixar movie releasing after Luca. After Luca, Pixar has Turning Red, Lightyear, and a TBC animated film on the release slate. Here are the details on all the upcoming Pixar movies by Mitch Brock of Screen Rant. The Gaming Maniac. So would Keaton just be living on Ezra's Earth at the end of the film, replacing Affleck? Well, whoa. There is no evidence that anyone's being replaced. I think this is the thing people are misunderstanding. In a multiverse strategy, in a world where the Flash has broken the walls down of the multiverse, there can be so many versions of these characters. He doesn't have to replace him. He may replace him, but I've got a feeling that Affleck will survive Flashpoint and will be there at the end of the movie. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But I don't think he's replacing him. Not in my opinion, no. Sea Monster coming of age movie Luca has hit Disney+. So what Pixar movies are still upcoming? Pixar Animation Studios has released 24 feature films so far. The first being Toy Story in '95, and the latest being Luca in 2021. Since 2006, Pixar has essentially released one feature film per year, with 2020 premiering two, Onward and Soul. While Pixar's output is certainly high, the studio is renowned for its quality movies, exploring fascinating themes in quality films with heart that don't lack imagination nor innovation. I don't think they're as good as they used to be. While 2020 presented many challenges to the filmmaking industry, Pixar still managed to complete films in changed circumstances. While Luca took years to make, much of the animation and voice recording was completed remotely. Release dates changed, as did release methods with Luca, and so releasing exclusively on Disney+. But Pixar still has several upcoming films in the works to be released over the next year into 2023. Pixar has 3 movies with release dates on Disney's schedule, beginning with Turning Red and Lightyear, both scheduled for a 2022 release date. There is also one untitled Pixar movie on Disney's release schedule for 2023. Here are all the Pixar movies currently confirmed to be releasing after Luca. Turning Red tells the story of Mei Lee, a dorky girl of 13 years who is torn between obedience and adventure, while she goes through all the changes of adolescence, including relationships, interests, as well as her body. If she gets too excited, she suddenly transforms into a giant red panda, and Mei Lee is frequently excited. Academy Award winner Domee Shi, who directed the Pixar short Bao, is writing and directing the movie, to be produced by Lindsay Collins. WALL-E, Finding Dory, the official release date announced by Pixar is spring 2022, and the only Pixar date in Walt Disney Studios release date that fits is Friday, March the 11th, 2022. Turning Red will be Pixar's return to cinemas after Soul and Luca released exclusively on Disney+. The sci-fi action-adventure animated movie Lightyear will tell the origin story of Toy Story's Buzz Lightyear, the human astronaut upon whom the toy is based. Chris Evans will voice the animated human version of Buzz, which I think is a great pick, revealing the Space Ranger's origin as a young test pilot. The movie will be directed by Angus MacLane, who co-directed Finding Dory, and produced by Galen Sussman. Toy Story 4, and will also open in cinemas. Pixar's date for the film is summer 2022, which matches the Walt Disney Studios Pixar release slate date of June the 17th, 2022. Pixar has one more slot on the Walt Disney Studios release slate. Though there's no official announcements yet about what this film could be, pegged for June the 16th, 2023 per deadline, fans should be able to expect some kind of news on this installment soon. These films, in addition to the 3 announced Pixar Animation Studios series that are currently in development for Disney+, Dug Days, based on the dog character from Up, a series based on the Cars movies, and one called Win or Lose, which will follow a middle school softball team. With Luca now streaming on Disney+, animation devotees can look forward to the 3 upcoming Pixar movies in development and releasing over the next 2 years. We go back to the DCEU. Aquaman 2 director James Wan welcomes Amber Heard back for the sequel. That's going to upset a few people, so that makes me really happy. With filming in Aquaman 2 expected to kick off next month, star Amber Heard starts her quarantine and receives a sweet note from director James Wan by Rachel Labonte of Screen Rant. Director James Wan welcomes Amber Heard back to the DCEU ahead of the start of filming for Aquaman 2. Jason Momoa's Arthur Curry took center stage in 2018's Aquaman, a DC adventure that saw Arthur accept his role as King of Atlantis. A bona fide hit at the box office, the film soon paved the way for a sequel, though that has been slower than expected to arrive. Aquaman 2 is currently scheduled for release in December 2022. Both Momoa and Wan, who directed the first film, will be back for this one, along with several other familiar faces. The Gaming Maniac. So would Keaton be living on the same Earth as Ezra and Ben? Or do you think, since the walls are broken, that he and people other than Barry would have access from jumping between worlds at will? That's a very, very good question, the Gaming Maniac. So let's break this down. So one way or another, he's going to be accessible. He's going to be accessible to the central Earth, DCEU Earth 1. This is what I think is going to happen. Because I have this theory that we're not going to have, basically, we're going to have a multiverse Justice League. I think they'll still have their own little mini Justice Leagues, but I think they'll probably develop multiverse Justice League movies. So I think we're heading towards a multiverse Justice League. And I think there'll be many, many members, maybe hundreds of members slowly to be developed. So I think your question is kind of apt. I think they will be able to slip in and out of the main Earth and go back to their own Earth because they're going to have their own Justice Leagues. But when they come, then they join the Multiverse Justice League when there's a multiversal event so huge that the Multiverse Justice League has to come into play. So I think, yes, to answer your question, I think they can slip in and out of realities, of parallel Earths, of the multiverse, and I think that's where we're going to go with that for sure. Yeah, I don't think necessarily he has to stay there. I think he can go back to his Earth, but maybe he won't want to. It's a very interesting concept that would be my prediction of Gaming Mania. Very good question. Though plot details are still being kept under wraps, Aquaman 2 recently received the official title of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, a great title, by the way. Those returning from the first movie include Heard as Princess Mira, Patrick Wilson as Orm, and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II as Black Manta. In the case of Heard, her Aquaman 2 role comes after rumours of her firing emerged online, despite some fans calling for her removal amid her legal battles with ex-husband Johnny Depp. The actress remains attached to the DCEU in the role of Mira. Over the weekend, Heard shared a picture of a message she received from Juan. With the post, Heard confirmed she's in quarantine ahead of production beginning on Aquaman 2. Amber, welcome back to Atlantis, Juan wrote in his note, which arrived on some very fancy stationery. You can see Heard's full post down below. So, wow, yeah, Amber, welcome back to Atlantis. Love, James and Rob. That's brilliant. Now, after I read this article, I'm going to tell you why they're publicising this and what's going on here. Because these elite, publications are, they have relationships with Hollywood. So I'll tell you why this is being publicised. Assuming Heard's quarantine will last as long as the standard length that has arose during the pandemic, filming won't kick off for another 2 weeks. Yet 2 weeks is nothing. At least this falls in line with what Momoa said recently, that Aquaman 2 will begin production in July. The start of filming can perhaps provide new details about what to expect from the DCEU film. Right now, very little has been revealed about the story based on the title, though one can theorise that Aquaman 2 will explore some of the underwater worlds touched upon in the first movie. Heard has posted a lot about her Aquaman 2 prep work, from sharing throwback pictures from the first film to pulling back the curtain on her training. She's left no doubt that she will be starring in Aquaman 2 alongside Momoa, and it's clear she's quite excited to get started. Based on how much she's been sharing of the pre-production process, Heard just might treat fans to some BTS looks once filming actually begins. It should only be a few weeks to go now, so stay tuned for future updates. Very, very interesting. So let's dive into this. Why would they publicise so much about Amber Heard being back and getting a sweet note from James Wan? Because Warner Brothers want to make it absolutely clear to you, or any dissenting voices quickly spreading rumours about her sacking and going on and on about Amber Heard and how she is the devil incarnate, that they want to make one thing very clear to you all. We don't care what you do, what you say, what lies you spread. Amber Heard is not going anywhere right now. She's involved in this film. We are not hiding from this. We are proud of Amber Heard. She's in this film, and it doesn't matter what you say, it will continue. Now, we do not know if she gets killed off at the end of this movie. We don't know that. That could be her firing. That could be what happens. People haven't really looked at it like that because people just want to get clicks and likes for the present day and say it's more dramatic to say that Amber Heard's been fired from now than saying she's going to get killed off in the movie. Now, I don't know if that's true, but if they wanted a cleaner way of getting rid of her, they could kill her off in the movie. But there are rumours of a Mira HBO Max series. There's lots of things going on. I would doubt they are thinking of killing her off. But if they are not happy with her, that's one way of dealing with the situation. Time will only tell. So, we go to WandaVision's Catherine Hahn, discusses new Agatha could return, how Agatha could return in the MCU. WandaVision star Catherine Hahn thinks Agatha could return to the MCU, saying that it would be a blast to explore more of Agatha's comic book history. By Catherine Stinson. WandaVision's Catherine Hahn discusses how Agatha Harkness can return in the MCU. Although the true villain of WandaVision was always Wanda Maximoff's Elizabeth Olsen, that's what most people think, Grave, Agatha, yeah, it's not the character, it's her grief. There's always an excuse for a woman being bad. Agatha proved to be a formidable magical foe to Wanda as well. It was Agatha who threw a wrench into Wanda's grief-drenched fantasy world of Westview. And ironically, it was Agatha who helped Wanda come to terms with accepting her destiny as the Scarlet Witch. Even though many Marvel fans accurately predicted that Hans Westview character Agnes was really Agatha Harkness, the big reveal in the episode 7 Breaking the Fourth Wall was still undeniably epic. Agatha's primary objective all along was to steal Wanda's dangerously powerful chaos magic for herself. However, what initially appeared to be a major power play on Agatha's part turned out to be her undoing. After all, Wanda had no idea that she was an actual witch, let alone that her powers were magic, until Agatha told her. Ironically, Agatha turned out to be the magic teacher Wanda needed to start to begin understanding the full depth and breadth of her powers. But could this have been Agatha's plan all along? Maybe Agatha manipulated Wanda to become the Scarlet Witch. What do you think about that? Abraham Herrera, I like Amber. I don't know what the fuss is about. She's just a spoiled little brat. Listen, Abraham. They're all spoiled brats. This is the situation. We are not here to tame people. We are not here to give moral. I'm trying to think of a longer word, but we're not here to say you're bad, become better, or else, or we're not going to like you anymore. We're all shits. We're all great. We're all shits at the same time. So at the end of the day, she's a young, beautiful, talented actor. She saw an opportunity to marry Johnny Depp, like many young women do, right? He fell for it. He went for it. Once the relationship didn't work out, they were clearly tearing lumps out of each other. He should have walked away instead of trying to prove to the world that she was the bad person. It's pathetic. It hasn't worked out for him, and it's cost his career. We go on. Hahn said that she would love to return as Agatha in an interview with Gold Derby via comicbook.com. The actress said she hadn't been asked to return to the MCU just yet. However, Hahn has clearly thought about the possibilities of how Agatha could feasibly return. Check out how Hahn thinks Agatha could return below. If I were to ever come back, there's so many aspects of her that I think are fascinating. She touches in so many different worlds. Throughout the comics, she's a centuries-old witch and has seen a lot. And there's a lot of different people. And being that she's crossed paths with over the last couple of centuries, so that would be a blast to explore, I agree. Hahn's take on Agatha's possible return is right on the mark. Agatha's character was first introduced in a Fantastic Four comic back in 1970. Like Hahn said, Agatha has a rich comic book history that could be easily adapted into the MCU. It's difficult to fathom Hahn's Agatha not returning to the MCU in some capacity. After all, Hahn did a fantastic job of playing the dual roles of the noisy neighbor Agnes and the cunningly brilliant Agatha in WandaVision. Not only that, but Hahn's Agatha presented an actual challenge to Wanda, who could have easily defeated Thanos in Avengers Endgame if the Mad Titan hadn't initiated a blitz to stop her. Agatha, on the other hand, forced Wanda to accept reality, a feat that everyone else in WandaVision failed miserably. Agatha did warn Wanda that she'd need her help eventually in the WandaVision series finale. At this point, it doesn't seem like a question of if Hahn will return as Agatha, but when. Will Hahn return as Agatha regardless of what the MCU future holds for Agatha Harkness? There's no doubt that Hahn's portrayal of the character was downright magical. She did a solid job for sure, no question. Now we're back to the DCEU with Black Adam. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has something to say. Dwayne Johnson reveals Black Adam filming is nearly complete. In an Instagram post, Dwayne Johnson announces that production for Black Adam is about to wrap up with only 3 weeks of filming left. Black Adam, Dwayne Johnson's entry to the DCEU, is in its last stages of filming. The highly anticipated movie is based on the character in the comics, an ancient Egyptian anti-hero who is looking for redemption. Johnson has been attached to the role since 2014 and was originally pegged to appear in 2019 Shazam until producers decided to launch the character through a solo film instead. He pretty much is the producers. After heavy delays due to the pandemic, production for Black Adam finally began early this year. Other actors have been announced to complete complete the cast with stars like Pierce Brosnan and Noah Centineo joining as members of the Justice Society of America. Johnson also recently announced that the superhero movie will premiere on July the 29th, 2022. Next year's so massive, isn't it? The actor has done so much to drum up excitement for the film, documenting its progress and his intense physical training for the role on social media. Over the weekend, Johnson revealed the filming Black Adam is. Let me say that again. Over the weekend, Johnson revealed that filming Black Adam is nearly complete, with only 3 weeks left before production finally wraps up. The 49-year-old actor posted a photo of his post-training meal, which he dubbed as the Black Adam diet. It consisted of ground beef, brown rice, with a portion of fruits and vegetables, according to Johnson. He's been on a strict diet for 6 months now in preparation for his biggest role to date. Check out his post below. Doesn't look like much, but here's my Saturday night post-leg training meal. Ground tandoori, brown rice with broccoli. I'm having that with my Sunday lunch today. Pineapple for digestion with 8 ounces, 10 ounces of water. All my 6 meals per day are strictly measured out, including water and sodium. As we go into our final 3 weeks of production for the filming of Black Adam, comment push, chips in up, and do your best to trust the process. Wow. Big thank you to my strength and conditioning coach, Davey Renzi, for keeping a watchful daily eye on my physique and conditioning for 6 months. Straight to hopefully raise the bar of what a superhero looks like on the big screen. He's just trying to mock everyone who's played superheroes before, right? So Johnson mentioned that his daily meals, including water and salt intake, are carefully being monitored to complement his rigorous workouts at the gym. While the wrestler-turned-actor is certainly used to physical conditioning, getting into his Black Adam physique is a completely different process. Just last month, The Rock shared a picture of his ripped body to show that all his hard work is paying off. Admittedly, he stated that he's never prepared so hard for any other project in his entire career. Soon, audiences will get to see Johnson's efforts on screen as he takes on the mantle of Black Adam. While DC Films has not yet released official looks at Black Adam's costume, fans can accept that The Rock will be able to pull off the look of the famous anti-hero. Amid a stream of superhero movies, Johnson's level of dedication and commitment to his role has indeed raised the bar when it comes to actors portraying bigger-than-life personas. The hype surrounding Black Adam gets bigger by the day, but Johnson is determined to make his debut into the world of superheroes worth the wait. I surely hope so, and I'm so pumped for that movie. Jumanji 4 will definitely happen, says Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart confirms Jumanji 4 is definitely going to happen, but it comes down to timing since the main cast are all involved in other projects, like Molly Fesser of Screen Rant. Kevin Hart says that the Jumanji 4 will happen. The popular fantasy adventure franchise began with 1995 film starring the late Robin Williams as a man who is unwittingly brought back from being trapped inside a supernatural board game since he was a boy. The film was loosely based on Chris Van Allsburg's 1981 children's fantasy book of the same name. The film grossed $263 million worldwide upon its release and has since become a source of 90s nostalgia. And that was good. Just to let you know, 293 or 63 million was good back in the day. Just to let you know that, just in case you think that's not a lot of money, it was back then. Over 20 years later, Jumanji got a modern-day follow-up with the direct sequel reboot Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, the 2017 film starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, and Karen Gillan. And instead of a board game, the film centered around the supernatural video game. The reboot was an unexpected hit, packed with an all-star cast, thrilling action sequences, and plenty of humor. Its success led to the cast to the return for the sequel 2 years later with Jumanji: The Next Level. Though it was not critically as well received as its predecessor, surprise, surprise, it still grossed $800 million, fantastic worldwide, and its ending set the story up for the fourth film. As expected, Jumanji 4 was confirmed to be in early development last year. Now, one of the stars has some information about the new film. In an interview with Collider, Hart confirmed that Jumanji 4 is definitely happening. According to Hart, it's all based on timing for the actors, as many of them are currently working on other projects, but they are committed to returning for another film. Read what Hart had to say below. For us to recreate the Jumanji world and have that success, it's monumental. You don't walk away from that. We have no interest in walking away, no, because you want to make more money. It's about the timing. Dwayne, myself, I'm doing a movie with Jack Black right now, Borderlands. I'm in Budapest. We've all kind of taken on some other projects. So I think when things slow down for us and our commitments are out of the way, we're definitely going to revisit another one because there's no reason not to. It's a family adventure. That's a box that, once again, if you can check correctly, it's amazing. It's profitable. The household of all can go out and enjoy. But right now, my priorities are and the commitments that I've made. Staying true to my partnership at Netflix, making sure that I prioritize these films, knocking these out, doing it at a high level, and then after that, looking at what the world of appetite is for other things that we have on the table. That's going to be a priority, but there's no world where we're not interested in doing more. I know Sony definitely is as well. Very interesting. I like straight talking, and Kevin Hart's been talking very straight here, and I like that. The next level set up a few things for a fourth movie, including the twist involving villain Jurgen the Brutal, played by Game of Thrones' Rory McCann. While the movie concluded with Jurgen's death, Johnson confirmed in a social media post after the film's release that Jurgen was a playable avatar in Jumanji. Wow, meaning someone is playing him, and that the fourth movie will answer who that person is. The credits scene also showed the game crossing over to the real world, which hints that like the original movie Jumanji 4 could take place in the real world. Wait a minute. Oh, they're calling it Jumanji 4 because of the Robin Williams one. There are a few things that have been working against Jumanji 4's development, including, here we go, they're going to blame coronavirus pandemic again, which halted other projects. The cast has been working on production on Johnson's Netflix movie. Red Notice was halted last year, and he's currently filming the DCEU solo Black Adam movie, which is a priority, of course. As Hart mentioned above, he's also currently working with Jack Black on the film adaptation of the popular video game series Borderlands. It sounds like while the cast is definitely ready to return for a fourth movie, fans might not see it for some time, which makes sense. So you're all just going to have to be patient, but I'm sure it's going to be awesome when it's completed and released. Are there any Dexter fans in the house? Oh, there's only one person watching. Maybe you're watching it after the live's finished. So, yeah, I'm asking you again, and please put them in the comments down below. Are you a Dexter fan? Well, anyway, let's talk about Dexter because Christopher Fiducia from Screen Rant has written an article. Dexter's Julie Benz is open to return as Rita in season 9. Julie Benz, who played Rita Bennett for 4 seasons of Dexter, is open to returning as her character, but doesn't think it would make sense. By Christopher Fiducia. If she's saying that, that means it's pretty much been shot already, I think, or most of it has, so I wouldn't think she'll be returning. I have an opinion about the character of Rita and Julie, and I will give it to you after I read this article. Actress Julie Benz is willing to return for the revival of Dexter. Benz was introduced in the first episode of Dexter back in 2006 as Rita Bennett. Dexter Morgan's loving girlfriend, Dexter dated Rita and eventually married her to blend in with society as he killed criminals in Miami. Just when things were going well for Dexter, Rita and their 3 children, the Trinity killer John Lithgow, murdered Rita and left their son Harrison in a pool of her blood. One of the most dramatic, I'm going to cry, one of the most dramatic, compelling moments in storytelling history. It's a bit like that moment in Seven with Gwyneth Paltrow's head. But I will explain to you why that was the worst and the best thing that ever happened for the series. Dexter Season 4 is often considered the best in the entire series, and Rita's death was one of the Dexter's most shocking moments. Dexter's series finally was also quite shocking, but not in a good way. Fans and critics alike hated how Season 8 ended, and Showtime is hoping to redeem the show with Dexter Season 9 this fall. So far, Season 9 has cast Jamie Chung as a true crime reporter, so she's going to be annoying, and Clancy Brown as the villain, Kurt Caldwell. However, besides Michael C. Hall, none of the original cast members have been confirmed for the revival, so we don't know what's happening there. In a recent interview with TV Line, Benz briefly commented on Dexter Season 9 while promoting her TV movie Secrets of a Gold Digger Killer. Benz said that she would be willing to return for the revival, but doesn't think it would make sense for Rita to appear. Ben's full comments can be read below. I think Dexter has moved away past Rita, unfortunately. Yes, Julie. It doesn't make sense for her to be on his mind as a ghost because she was only his cover. He didn't internalize her, so there are no plans for Rita to show up. I would obviously do it in a heartbeat if they asked, but I've always said Rita shouldn't make an appearance in his head because she didn't know the real him. She didn't know the dark passenger. I understand what she's saying. She doesn't need to understand. She doesn't need to know him, but it's a difficult one, right? You could do that. You could do that of the person who's talking to him I think she's kind of right, even though I'm a little bit of denial because I would love to see her back. I think it wouldn't work. I want to talk, in a minute, I'm going to talk about how I don't like the treatment of her character at all. So we'll do that in a minute. As of late, there have been mixed reports on whether the Dexter revival is going to bring back some of the original cast members. James Remar, who plays Dexter's adoptive father for 8 seasons, previously stated that Showtime didn't ask any of the original cast to return and that he didn't know what their plan was for season 9. Chung seemed to later contradict Remar's comments by saying the revival has a lot of fresh faces, but a lot of familiar ones. Interesting. It's still unknown who will or won't return in season 9, but with how anticipated the Dexter's revival is, and it is, Showtime probably won't confirm any returning cast members until the show airs. While it might make sense to have characters like Batista or Joey Quinn come back to effectively wrap up their stories, it would be more challenging to find a way to bring Rita back. Rita was never really a big part of this show after her death. That was a mistake. With Dexter moving on to find other love interests, another big mistake, like Lumen Pierce, massive mistake, and Hannah McKay, an even bigger mistake, it will make sense to bring Hannah back since she's currently with Dexter's son in Argentina. But Rita returning in Dexter season 9 might do more harm than good if the writers don't find a logical way to bring her back. That being said, it doesn't actually look like Rita is set to return based on Ben's comments. I must inform you, this is a bit like the MCU. This is so big, this revival, and they're going to lie. So don't believe everything actors say. But I want to talk about this. I'm going to queue up I think that's all the articles for today, or is there more? Oh, no, there's a few more. So let's go into this, right? Dexter from seasons 1 to 4 was one of the best shows ever created, and it had a hardcore fandom, but not a mainstream fandom. So it was very, very popular with the hardcores who watched it. What happened was they kept on changing showrunners, which was a big mistake. And also Showtime weren't just happy with it having a hardcore audience. They wanted it to go lighter and mainstream. This became a problem. Anyway, at the end of season 4, if you haven't seen the show, basically Dexter kills John Lithgow's Trinity Killer. But before he killed him, unknowing to Dexter, he murdered his wife, Rita, played by Julie Benz. Julie Benz has been around the TV acting circuit for years. She's absolutely fantastic. She was also in Rambo 4. So she's a great actor. She's been around for years. I think she was in Roswell as well, the original series. But anyway, so that character, and I don't think people realize this or still realize this, that character gave a balance to the show and the character of Dexter. So when you kill her off in a shocking way, it's very rewarding, it's compelling, it's great. But then you realize when you come to the next season, season 5, you have a problem. Because Dexter hasn't got this character, this balanced, well-adjusted character. Well, not well-adjusted, obviously, although she becomes more well-adjusted as the series went on. But you haven't got this balance of this woman he comes home to. And, and he doesn't really mourn her that well. He doesn't seem to really care because basically the whole point is he pretty much was just with her just to create this kind of fantasy to the outside world that he's a normal, everyday guy who, who's a blood splatter analyst. But I think the show missed her. One of the big problems was after she died, they were obsessed with creating another love interest. So they brought Lumen along. She was a victim of this serial killer. They didn't kill her. He was protecting her. He falls in love with her. It's Lumen this, Lumen that. Lumen's better than Rita. I didn't feel this way towards Rita. They, for me, totally pissed over this character that Julie created so well. And the dynamic between her and Michael was beautiful. The moment she left the show, I think the show was pretty dead. They'd lightened it up. Again, this is the big mistake on successful shows. It happened with Flash and especially Arrow as well. Once you lighten these shows up and you try and bring a skin deep brigade, the skin deep brigade as I call them, the skin deep brigade are the mainstream audience who don't want to see too many dark kind of traits, and they want to see Dexter and Lumen. Oh, Dexter and Lumen. Oh, they're going to get together. Let me make a TikTok video about this shit. That was the problem. They weren't a great couple. It didn't work. Of course, she wasn't in it. Julia Stiles was a great coup, by the way, because Julia was a great actor. She was in 2 of the Bourne movies, was she? And it was a great coup to get her, but they did the wrong thing with her. What they should have done with Lumen, actually, Lumen should have been the serial killer. She should have basically faked the whole thing that she was the victim. She should have turned around in the middle of the series and been this twist serial killer and Dexter's enemy. Instead of it being a lovey-dovey, boring love interest character, it was shit. And I hated that element of it, and I was bored of it. Unfortunately, Dexter was never the same again after the end of season 4. In fact, by Rita dying in Dexter, it's like pulling the most important brick, the foundation of a building. You pulled Rita away like that brick, like that foundation, and the rest of the building comes crashing down, and it destroyed Dexter. Killing off Rita, as compelling and as dramatically rewarding as it was the biggest mistake they made. And that's my opinion about that. If you're a Dexter fan, you can comment and let me know what you think about my opinion. Anyway, more MCU characters could get Black Widow-style prequels, says Kevin Feige. Is this a good idea, though? Kevin Feige reflects on Black Widow's story, hinting that Marvel is interested in exploring the past, present, and future of its characters by Cheyenne Allen of Screen Rant. Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, has teased that more prequels like Black Widow might be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe's future. Black Widow, directed by Kate Shortland and starring Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff, marks Marvel's return to the silver screen, and it's the official theatrical starter for Phase 4. After numerous delays due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the prequel is set directly after Captain America: Civil War and explores Natasha's turn as a fugitive reconnecting with the people from her as a former KGB assassin. Black Widow is expected to be an exciting, action-packed deep dive into Natasha's haunted past, something that's only ever been teased since her first appearance in Iron Man 2. Over a decade ago, the character has massively evolved since then, with Johansson herself recently reflecting on the hyper-sexualization of Natasha in the early stages of the MCU. Black Widow is the perfect opportunity for Marvel to rectify previous mistakes by fully exploring Natasha's growth, making her death in Avengers Endgame all the more heroic and bittersweet. Now Feige has hinted at Marvel's interest in creating prequels like Black Widow for other beloved Marvel characters during a press conference via /film. Promoting the film, Feige commented on the potential for other films that explore the past, present, and future of characters from the MCU, emphasizing how personal and specific Black Widow is to Natasha's character. Read the full quote below. Come on, Kevin, I haven't read your quote yet. I'm going to read it in a minute. I know what it's going to be all about. I'm guessing. I'll tell you what I think it's going to be before I read it. Let's see if I'm right or wrong. But this film is just about building up and setting up a brand new Black Widow. That's it. This is not about Natasha Romanoff. Not really. She's literally Sideshow Bob in this movie. So I think he has no plans of doing prequels. This is just him trying to push the fact that this movie is a prequel and a lot of people aren't inspired to go and watch it. So let's see what he said. Certainly this film and this story is a particular case for Natasha, but the notion of exploring past, present, and future of the MCU is certainly in the cards for all of our characters. Well, that is interesting. I'm wrong then. This particular story of this particular cast is very personal, very specific to Natasha. Well, not really. You're just building up a brand new Black Widow. I think he's just saying, I actually think I'm right. I don't always think I'm right. I'm not one of those people. But I actually think that he's just saying this to push this movie, to inspire people to go and see it. Because I don't think everyone's inspired to see this. It's going to be interesting how this does and what the reception for this movie is going to be. I can't wait. I can't wait till it's released. I'm actually going to see it. Definitely. Probably on Disney+. Feige's interest in the past, present, and future of the MCU characters aligns perfectly with what fans have seen from Phase 4 so far. All three major Marvel Disney Plus television series have taken advantage of the medium to give already beloved characters new depth. We're exploring Wanda's grief in WandaVision, Sam and Bucky's relationship with the mantle of Captain America and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or Loki's identity and sense of self in Loki. Marvel seems to be entering a new era that focuses on specific characters rather than huge blockbuster team-ups. I don't think they're going to go exclusively this way, because if they did, it would be a big problem. But if they do, let's see. I mean, I like the idea of character development movies and projects. Don't get me wrong. I think the industry's lost that. After the colossal scale of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, it is refreshing to see Marvel take its character in new directions. In the case of Natasha, even after her on-screen death, Feige's current interest in Marvel's extensive roster of heroes and villains shows that the studio could bring any character back into the MCU in order to explore unseen parts of their backstory. But as one of the Avengers that has been the most overlooked, Natasha is the perfect character to bring this type of MCU story into theaters for the first time. Set to be another big success for Marvel, Black Widow may forge a whole new era of character-focused content. Is it going to be successful? Let's see. Listen, the MCU stamp goes on it and it's successful. Just remember, successful movies, big box office, doesn't mean it's a great movie. And there's a lot of misunderstanding between the cool kids watching movies today. They don't get that. Your whole MCU franchise makes a lot of money, but it doesn't mean they're great movies. It's a great franchise with interconnectivity, but a great franchise doesn't make great movies necessarily. Kevin Hart says he's still developing a remake of Planes, Trains and Automobiles. Oh my God, they're not going to leave anything alone, are they? Kevin Hart's Planes, Trains and Automobiles remake is still in development. Kevin Hart says that his remake of Planes, Trains and Automobiles with Will Smith could be interesting with Will, but still, come on. It's still in development, but is a ways away from happening by Natalie Hunter of Screen Rant. Kevin Hart's remake of Planes, Trains and Automobiles is still in the works. The original comedic film came out in 1987. That's what I think of Planes, Trains, Automobiles reboot, by the way. Anyway, starring Steve Martin, John Candy, and who were praised for their comedic dynamic and chemistry together in the original Planes, Trains and Automobiles. Type A businessman Neil Page's Martin plans to return home to be with his family on Thanksgiving, are put in jeopardy when a freak snowstorm reroutes his flight in the wrong direction. He finds himself stuck rooming with a talkative shower curtain ring salesman, Del Griffith, Candy, and together they must navigate public transportation to find their way home. Hart confirms that this production, his production company, Heartbeat, God, that didn't take much to think about, Heartbeat Productions, is developing a Planes, Trains and Automobile remake. He told Collider that he's working on the project along with Will Smith. The actor said that at this point, they are still trying to nail down the story and setting. Hart was sure to iterate that if the project happens, it'll be much further down the line. Planes, Trains and Automobiles, Hart says, we're trying to figure it out. Will and myself are both interested right now. It's on the table. The world of development is a long one, and we know that the IP is there. Everybody was willing to let us get into it, but we got to crack the code on what the story is and what the world that we will make it in and how we can best make it to fit in. Will and myself, yeah, but it's wait, let me start again. I'm losing my bloody words, right? Let's start again, right? So, Planes, Trains and Automobiles. We're trying to figure it out. Will and myself are both interested right now. It's on the table. The world of development is a long one, and we know that. The IP is there. Everybody was willing to let us get into it. But we got to crack the code on what the story is and what the world that will make it in. How we can best make it fit Will and myself. Yes, but it's we're a ways away from it happening. So I got my words out in the end. Hart did drop hints that him and Smith would play the starring roles. No, really, in the film. He didn't specify who'd play Martin's role and who'd take Candy's, but it would be equally hilarious with Hart and Smith playing either characters, thanks for the comedic chops. President of Film and TV at Heartbeat Productions also chimed in, stating that it was in deep development. However, like Hart, he expressed that their Planes, Trains and Automobiles remake will be amazing if they are able to pull it off. Ugh, no imagination, no ambition. Kevin Hart, Will Smith, you're great artists. Why not make something fucking original instead of remaking something so beautiful? You disappoint me. You really do. I still think you're great, but you disappoint me. Scarlett Johansson reckons her character's sacrifice in Avengers Endgame was the right way to go. Scarlett Johansson defends Black Widow's controversial Endgame death scene. Amidst the mixed reactions to Natasha Romanoff's death in Avengers Endgame, Scarlett Johansson says that Black Widow's decision to die made sense by Anna Domarog of Screen Rant. Scarlett Johansson defends Black Widow's tragic death in Avengers Endgame. While the 2019 MCU film was a major hit for critics and fans, directors Joe and Anthony Russo made a few controversial creative choices in the blockbuster. One, and arguably the biggest of them all, was how they chose to end Natasha Romanoff's arc. Introduced in 2010's Iron Man 2 as Nick Fury's planted SHIELD agent to keep an eye on Iron Man, Black Widow evolved into a full-time member of the Avengers as one of the founding members of the premier MCU superhero team. She'd been involved in the Battle of New York, Sokovia, and Wakanda. In between their big missions, she was also involved primarily with Captain Rogers' solo movies, appearing in Captain America, The Winter Soldier, and Captain America Civil War. However, her journey ended on Vormir, however you say, when she decided to give up her life for the Soul Stone in Avengers Endgame. This decision was met with a divisive response from the public. In a set interview with ET Online for the upcoming Black Widow solo film, Johansson admitted that she's aware of the mixed response from Nat's death in Avengers Endgame, but amidst it, she explained why it made sense that her character was the one to sacrifice herself, saying that the friends that were decimated were the character's primary motivations. It's funny because I've had kind of a lot of mixed reactions to her ultimate fate in Endgame, but for me it made so much sense that she would sacrifice herself not just for the greater good of humanity, but actually for her friends, which was actually at the heart of it. She's a good one. Kevin, you can put the gun down now. No one can see Scarlett as she's being interviewed. It's okay. She said what you wanted to say, right? Calm down. There is a different explanation from what the filmmakers revealed. The Russos admitted that there was a back and forth between Black Widow and Hawkeye as to who will get to sacrifice themselves on Vormir. It's interesting, because you would have thought Hawkeye would have been the easy one to get rid of because no one would have given a shit anyway. But they decided to go with Hawkeye. Now, I don't know if Johansson decided she wanted to go or what the truth of this is. But if you had a choice, you'd definitely get rid of a boring grade Z character like Hawkeye over Black Widow. So if they had a choice, I don't get it. As to who will get to sacrifice themselves on Vormir, but they opted for Nat to give her agency, allowing her to decide her fate, something that she barely had any luxury of doing before in her arc. Despite this is just bullshit, isn't it? Despite that, Johansson's answer can be framed as supplementary to that logic. Based on the actress's quote, Nat's eagerness to see her friends resurrected after they were snuffed by Thanos snap and allowing her to personally do something for the mission could be the core reason that she was ultimately the one to make the jump to Vormir. However, much of the criticism from Black Widow's controversial death in Avengers Endgame wasn't about the character getting her agency, it's about whether or not she deserved to die in that way, especially since she'd really been the only Avenger that remained committed to their cause in the 5 years after Thanos snap. Hawkeye, what about Captain America? What about the rest of them? What? On the other hand, Hawkeye went on a rampage as part of his grieving process following the disappearance of his family. Many believe it was unfair that Nat didn't even get to see her friends be resurrected. I agree. At this point, Marvel Studios is hoping that the Black Widow film belatedly justifies Nat's demise. So what are they going to do? Keep on doing prequel movies about her? Bring her back somehow? They've dug themselves a hole when they could have just got rid of the boring character, right? Which we all fucking expected. I just think they were trying to surprise us. Congratulations, you did. Bad decision. Right, we've got one more article for you. Anime on comicbook.com is talking about last night's season 5 premiere of Rick and Morty. So let's check it out. And this is the final article. Rick and Morty season 5 premiere introduced Rick's nemesis while Morty goes on a date. Rick and Morty has finally revealed Rick's true nemesis while Morty goes on a date with the first episode of season 5. After much anticipation following the end of the fourth season's second half of episodes last year, Rick and Morty has finally returned for its 5th season. The fan favorite Adult Swim animated series will be airing all 10 of its planned episodes throughout the summer, and thankfully things have gotten off to a great start with the season premiere that introduces a key part of Rick's history. Hilariously, it seems to be his real nemesis this time around. That's not the only thing that happens in the jam-packed season premiere for the series, however, as nearly every member of the Smith family has something to do that's thrown into chaos with the arrival of Rick's nemesis, Mr. Nimbus. Read on for a full recap of everything that happened in the premiere episode. Right, this is spoilers ahead, so if you don't want to know what happens in the season premiere of season 5 of Rick and Morty, look away now. A badly injured Rick and Morty are making their way through an interdimensional space as they run from a horrifying monster, and Rick is losing hope. Morty tries to fly them out, but soon their ship starts breaking apart. As they start to crash to Earth, Morty decides to use his last moments to call Jessica and tell her how he feels about her. She ends up feeling the same, and the two make plans to have a date that evening. This gives Morty to motivation to live. They soon crash into the ocean. Rick is angry at this and is soon revealed that the reason he hates the ocean is his nemesis, Mr. Nimbus, the seafaring king of the oceans. In order to help smooth things over, Rick is planning a special dinner for Mr. Nimbus for a peace summit treaty, while Summer is off to getting a shell that grants the Sea King his power. All the while, Morty is planning to focus on his date with Jessica. Beth and Jerry reveal that they have been in a couples counseling and have opened themselves to a new sexual experiences. Rick throws wine into a dimension in order to age it several years, enough to Mr. Nimbus' taste, and soon Mr. Nimbus arrives at the Smith house. Jerry tries to call the police, but it also reveals that Mr. Nimbus can control the police. As Rick says, he's Mr. Nimbus. He controls the police. Jessica soon arrives as well, and Mr. Nimbus propositions Beth and Jerry for a potential sexual escapade. Morty goes to get the wine left in the portal, and he soon meets Hoovy, an alien on the other side, who helps him take the wine back to his house after it's been sitting there for decades. Upon returning, Hoovy finds years have passed. His wife has died, and a vengeful son stabs him. Morty is forced to get more wine and finds that same son much older and is quickly beaten up. Morty then goes back through and finds that the son even older, and soon decades pass as that society ready for Morty's return. Wow, I need to see this. When Morty breaks a wine bottle, he's forced to go through the time door once more, but he's still trying to keep Jessica from leaving. When he goes through the door, he's accosted by an entire castle of aliens waiting for him. Morty prepares to go back in guns blazing with all of Rick's technology, but on the other side, they are preparing as well. It's not enough, as Morty easily tears through them. He leaves behind some tech, however, and Morty returns to Rick and Mr. Nimbus, still having a terrible dinner. He then tries to get closer to Jessica once more, but on the other side, a mother and a son are training to have him be the one to make his way to Morty's dimension. He trains his entire life and is soon fashioned with a suit that allows him to go through to Morty's side. Jessica helps take him down, but the resulting time explosion pulls her through the time portal. Wow! Morty heads through one more time and is captured by the other side as they have advanced to technological new levels. Mr. Nimbus declares war on the sea, and Rick welcomes it as the two of them reveal that they have truly known each other for quite a while. On the other side, it's revealed that Jessica has been frozen in time inside of a mysterious crystal. Morty and Jessica then fail to escape as they are captured by the other side's technology. Rick tries to save them, but it's quickly revealed that his tech is not advanced enough to save them either. When they're trapped and near death, Mr. Nimbus arrives and soon uses his power to summon a tidal wave and the whales to save them. After they escape, Jessica reveals what happened to her after coming through the portal. She reveals that while trapped in the crystal, she saw millennia pass in that society that changed her forever, as she's essentially become a time god. Through all the time, she's had to think about the meaninglessness of it all. So she tells Morty that the two of them should be friends. Wow, that is a really long way of dumping someone, isn't it? Rick and Mr. Nimbus were about to bury the hatchet before Summer arrived with the conch shell, what gives Mr. Nimbus power. Angered, Nimbus beats up Rick and uses his power to send him to jail. Wow, that's amazing, isn't it? I haven't checked it out yet. I don't even think it's available for me over here in Cyprus. But I'm a big fan of Rick and Morty, so I hope you've enjoyed this morning's Movies TV Mad Daily Live. I have. It's been absolutely sensational. As usual, you've all been great. Thank you for your few comments. Don't forget, I'll be back tonight with the Movies TV Mad... No, let me start that again. I always get this wrong, don't I? Right, I'll be back tonight, 6:30 p.m. UK time. A live stream for you. The Movies TV Mad live from 6:30 p.m. UK time. Check your local times. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Don't forget to add me on TikTok and Instagram, Movies TV Mad 555. So if anything breaks, I may do a pre-recorded editorial, so you may see me before 6:30 p.m. UK time for the live stream. Until then, goodbye. You're all updated with your entertainment articles and news now. Until later today, when some of you Americans wake up when it's afternoon here, and then we can get into all the new entertainment headlines. And I can't wait. So until the live stream tonight, I'll see you later. Goodbye.